Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. This is Anthony. Sorry, whoops, I just said my real name. Shit. This is Hairymuppet. Just ignore that last bit. It's not important. This is Hairymuppet, and we are getting back into it. And I just actually rewatched all of the videos that I made, and I was like, "Yep, this is awesome." I did notice there was some weird mistakes I made when I was building this, and now I can't see them, but here it is. All right, so I made this mistake. I don't know if anybody noticed that, but it's been fixed now. And there was a mistake somewhere else. I can't remember those. Maybe somewhere around here. Who knows? But one of the biggest mistakes... here it is. There we go. There we go. There we go. That's beautiful. Now, one of the biggest things that has actually not worked out is the fact that I didn't use these little bastards, the electronics assembly machines. I mentioned them at some point. Look at them. They're tiny and they can do pretty much all of these components. And I just didn't use them. And they're actually a speed of 1. So they would have been better to use. But the thing is, they're going to mess up all of my spacing because they're smaller. And for some of them, for these guys, oh, not these guys, but these guys where they're using 2 each. And we're going to need better power poles to be able to use those anyway. So I will remember in the future when we start running out of these components, and we will run out of these components at some point, to switch over to those. Although I might do this one actually. I have a feeling that doing this one right now would be a good idea because these guys are really well. It's kind of hard to say because they're pretty much producing a full yellow belt. So even if I upgrade this stuff, it's kind of hard to say how we would improve that unless we're researching red belts. So what we can do is I can upgrade this, and then once we get red belts, I can change this to a red belt going down. And since this splits out into 2 yellow belts, that will improve the throughput even more. Because actually you can see out of these 10, only 3 or 4 of them are working. And only 3 or 4 of them are working because we are really, really running low on these basic electronic components. And it's just 5 per is just such a massive amount. If we didn't have this backing up chest, they would have been backed up. But yeah, it's a lot. So let's go ahead and start doing this right now because we can, and it would be awesome. We're going to have to switch over to the fast inserters to output this stuff, but that's fine. So let's go and just rip all of this stuff up. I really need a deconstruction planner with robots, but that should be fine for now. Okay. I wonder where the research is for electronics assembly machine 2s. They only need red and green, but they do need a whole bunch of stuff, and they need electronic circuit boards. So those are the next level of circuit boards. So yeah, but look at the crafting speed right there, 2.25, as opposed to the previous ones, which are just 1. That is insane, and upgrading to those will be absolutely monumental, but it's not going to happen anytime soon. So let me see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We're going to have a bit of space over here so we can move these guys to an outside split off if we really want to. Yeah. So anyway, let's make sure we're crafting a lot of these. We've got so many resources now to craft those. It's absolutely awesome. And because these are producing 1 each, we still will need to split the belt in half, halfway down. So we need to make sure that we do that. There we go. Beautiful. And as we said, after logistics 2 is done, we'll upgrade this to a red belt and get some throughput down. Now, the unfortunate thing here, well, not super unfortunate, but I think we still will have room for lights, actually. Just But you can see once we start using these small machines, if we can manage to plan it out properly to the point where we actually do have room. I mean, it's a 2-wide building versus a 3-wide building, and in terms of the space you save by using that, it is really, really awesome. So let's have a look. What the hell are we building here? These guys. So we're just outputting simple stuff on the side. So this is going to be our main belt. We're not using this one anymore. So let's get rid of that. But yeah, the point is, because we're outputting... you know what? Let's actually make this an 8 machines and then split it, because... as I said, moving up to red belts later on. So I think we can afford to do that. 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. Another 6. So are we inserting the bottom or at the top? I think we could split it for some of those. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, that works out beautifully. 7, 8. And the same thing over the other side. The music does seem to come and go a little bit, doesn't it, in this game? That's fine. Get rid of that. Get rid of that. Get rid of that. And yeah. At least now we've got the setups for the electronic assembly machines. And that will be good, because in the future, all we have to do is upgrade the machines to be newer ones. We won't have to relay out any of this stuff. And we're still pretty much the same size. This was our limit before. This is still our limit. As you can see, we're actually completely filling up this belt. Red. We need to upgrade this to a red belt. So we're going to need... what does a red belt take? Ton of iron gears. We're going to need so many freaking iron gears. It's not even funny. That's a little bit, but that's not going to help us too much. What do we want to do here? Here's what we can do. This is actually a neat little idea. So we put that there, and then we only need the small inserter still, but we put them like that, and they will have a nice little case here going on for this thing, which is beautiful. We really don't need this many basic electronic boards. Where's our output? Is this full? Yep, that's going to be backed up very nicely. And you can see, even when this thing is fully backed up, this guy continues to get those circuits and uses an extra bit of resources that you otherwise don't really need, but it's very, very nice to have that backed up. Okay, logistics. So that's going to need a ton of gears, but let's just start building them in the background, and we can yank gears out of there whenever we need them, which is really, really nice. Where are we looking here? So you can see we're using all of these, but only about a third of these machines, if that, are actually running. Now, I thought I fixed this. No, maybe I made that same mistake again. There we go. Anyway, these are running now. Okay. And yeah, even with a red belt, we still might not have some of these actually filling it up, which is tough. Or what could we do here? We could actually have 2 belts running out of here. That would be interesting, but then we'd have to sort of split them in half in multiple places, which is going to be a little bit funny. So let's not do that unless we have to. Let's get a few more reds. We don't technically need reds up here, because these guys will happily put down on the yellow and then they'll get sped up, but we are going to anyway because it's just more fun. So running incredibly low on iron, so let's grab a bunch of gears and a bunch of iron as well, and that should be enough for a while. So going down here, oh, I just got launched into this video. I was so excited about it that I forgot to put my bloody wrist braces on. I do have a bit of tendonitis due in no small part to playing computer games. So I do like to wear my wrist braces while I'm playing computer, and yes, they are back on now, so that's good. There we go, and we are going to want to upgrade these as well, I think. Yeah, just for the sake of it, because both of these can, of course, be replaced by the better machines. So let's get a bunch of those as well. My red belt is all finished, and we all finished that. We will need some splitters as well, because you've got to have the red belt going all the way down to when it merges into two belts all the way on the other side of the belt. So we're going to need to get a whole bunch of red undergrounds as well. But for now, do that. Replace all of these guys with the fast inserters. I don't know whether I need two of them anymore. It probably seems like a bit of overkill, but it's all good. Where's my light gone? Put that there. Copper and tin. So basically anything to do with these bloody circuits, you can just put them down here. And what we're actually going to do is we're going to use a blueprint planner here. So at the same point that we split on the top side, we're going to also insert some more tin copper wire. So that's going right down there. So we'll just do that there. We don't, I'm not sure we really need it, but you can see all the tin copper wire is actually getting used up. It's not going to make it to the end. So this is not a bad idea. Let's get these guys. As I've said a few times before, when you got robots, you won't need to manually put it down. You just pop the blueprint down and they do it all for you. But yeah, we're still doing the hard slog. At the moment, we're not quite at the point where robots just do everything for you in half of a quarter of a second. Let's see. Put it down. Unfortunately, manual placing on a blueprint doesn't keep the recipe. So anyway, there we go. Now we've got more tin. It looks like these guys were satisfying past the halfway point, but now we're absolutely making sure that this entire line is going to have tin copper wire. So that's beautiful. The red is still going down, but of course it's being slowed down somewhat. Oh, look at that. We just built about 300 gears trying to make those things. That is stupid. Absolutely stupid. We need a fast splitter, and we'll need another fast splitter later on. But let's just... Now, as you can see, if we do this, it actually stretches a lot further. It doesn't quite stretch double length though, so we're still going to have to do it every single bit. We can't skip it. And what it actually does, I just noticed, is if you put it on one side, it'll upgrade the other side automatically. And there, look at that beautiful amount. We had just the amount we needed, so we don't need to build another 5. So there we go. We're going to put the red splitter here, and excellent. Look at that. It's just shooting down. It'll shoot down a little bit, but then it'll start going back down to half speed. You can see it goes half speed. And the reason for that is because we haven't put this guy. Now this guy will do full speed all the way down, and we should start to see a lot more of these guys actually outputting the electronic circuits. And most importantly of all, we will have a lot more throughput going down, and these two yellow belts are pretty much exactly full now because the red belt is double the speed of the yellow belts, which means by the time these guys get over to Mr. Basic Electronic Circuits over here, we are finally going to start having a real... It's going to start doing more than 3 or 4. It's going to jump up to... I wouldn't say the whole amount, but up to like 6, 7, 8 of these machines are going to start running all at once, which is good for us. Although we're just filling up a crate at the moment, but that is still awesome. And we're going to have to do this over and over again with this array. I'm not sure what my end game is, but it definitely involves bots. However, I don't know if I would use bots for stuff like this because these guys are created so fast, and having bots, relying on bots to drag them around, I would need thousands of bots, thousands and thousands and thousands. And it seems like a waste when we could set up a few of these arrays and put up some super fast purple belts to shoot them around. But anyway, so we've got that done. And what are we doing now? Now we are going to start making stuff which is helpful to us. So we're going to start making undergrounds. We're going to start making splitters automatically, all of the inserters. We're going to start doing all of that. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to drag this iron belt all the way back, because when you're making circuits, you don't need a lot of iron. When you're making stuff like the assembly machines and the filter inserters and all of that sort of stuff, you need a lot of iron. So fill that up. Beautiful. All right, so we're going to get a full load of iron down here. We only got one line currently feeding it. We can easily expand the smelting array though. We've got one iron producing thing here. We can send 3 more out there if we need them. Oh man, I really need to balance these guys. I really need to, because some of these machines are actually full and half of the belt is empty. It's a bit of a hike, but I'm going to do it because I really, really want them to be split properly. And let's just start building a ton of these, and a ton of these, and a ton more of those, because I'm always running out of the damn things, and I do not want to be running out of them. So we can actually put this all the way back in here, and then hopefully they will only stop producing when the entire belt is full, not like what they're doing at the moment. Let's mirror this so it's about the same. There we go. And while we're here, we'll do it for tin and lead as well. Although it's not like tin is having any problems with throughput at the moment, and lead definitely not either. So beautiful. How's our belt actually looking? The iron is on one side. It's on one side because this is on one side. So this was backed up on one side, which means all these machines weren't running. Or they were running, I don't know exactly, but that's why this belt is half baked, because we do have a balancer over there. So it should be evenly balanced, but it's getting broken up a little. It's going to even out a little bit now. Should definitely do that now that we've got a balancer over here. But it's still going to be a little bit interesting. So, what do we want to do now? Are we running into iron problems? The answer is yeah. Let's just put it this way. When we get to the point where we're actually dealing with building stuff with iron, we are going to run into problems. But for now, I'm going to ignore it. Maybe we'll wait for steel furnaces to actually be a thing, and then we can use the steel furnaces to increase that iron production. But for now, you can see this belt looks it's coming out of one thing, so that's why it's not looking very healthy at all. But what we're going to do, we're going to copy and paste this, and we're going to copy it over once and do a duplication thing. Do we want 3 of these to be a thing? I'm not so sure that we do. I think 2 is enough. I think 2 should be fine. We might leave a bit of space anyway. Just space. We'll just leave space. So we'll start over there. Let's have a look. So we are going to build a nice little templated object, which I've done quite a few times before. Basically in every game I've ever played, I've done this. It's just it's a setup for generally building belts and building whatever else you need, sort of stuff. So let's have a look. Let's get a ton of these because we're going to need a ton of these. Yes. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Get out of here, Rock. We do not want you here anymore. And basically the idea behind this is transport belts and undergrounds and splitters they all need a lot of one thing, and that is gears. So this guy needs a gear. The underground needs not a lot, but the red undergrounds need 40 gears. The splitters don't need a lot, but this guy needs 10 gears. So you start to rack up a lot of gears very, very fast. And we're actually, this setup doesn't take loaders into account. So I might have to think of an interesting solution for that, because it doesn't really take it into account, but we might split some transport belts off to the sides. Anyway, let's start off with all of these guys producing gears. This guy's produces here. This is kind of a bit wider than we need, but we got space to burn, I think. So 1, 2, so need a guy there. And then this guy will go across to there. So you're getting basically 2 full belts of iron going in to produce all of these guys. And then we'll feed that back down there. And yeah, once this thing starts to get into full operation, you will see our supply of iron just absolutely melt away, because this thing just chews through iron so fast. It's not even funny. Let's actually get a whole ton of iron, because we've got a lot more space in our inventory at the moment. Whoops, I just picked up iron. I meant to pick up transport belts. That was a bit silly of me. There we go, transport belts. And yeah, when this is finished, we'll just be able to get them from over here, which is beautiful. So, gotta split these back over. It doesn't do a lot, this splitting back over, once you're really taxing the entire belt, but it definitely does help. Alrighty, so now we have that going like that, that going like that, and then that going like that, and that going like that. So we're going to have iron gears going up these 2 chains in the middle, and we're going to have the entry coming from these iron plates all over the place. I really want better power poles before I start doing this, but I don't think we have much of a choice here, so let's just work with what we have. And there we go. We also need there. So let's just get a bunch more power poles. Let's just research power poles, and then next episode I have to stop screwing around and I have to start getting steel and stone brick on the bus, because we need them and there's just no way around that. So let's put that at the corner there, the corner. Let's just fill up all of the corners. That should be fine. And stretch this back across there. The actual better electricity will give us a bunch of different options. It gives us the medium electronic poles, which will replace what we're currently using, and the big ones. And these guys, they're not too good for powering stuff, but they're great for stretching wires long range, like 30 wire each. So you could have one here and one there, and they would connect to each other, and it's just brilliant. So as you can see, starting to get a lot of gears coming out here. Put that there and that there. And this is where we start building the real stuff. So there, there, and there. Oh, what do we need here? We need boxes, don't we? So we put that guy up there, and then we, you know what? This guy can actually start there. And then he can go like that. That looks a little bit nicer. So we got the belt there, and then we need a few boxes for transferring stuff. So this is going to be where the actual transport belts are done, this middle guy, because he needs gears and he needs iron plates. So he gets iron plates from there and he gets gears from these other places. And then he puts the transport belts in here, in both of these crates, because we've got Mr. Underground over here who needs transport belts, and we've got Mr. Splitter over here who needs transport belts. So it also needs iron, needs gears. Does he need iron? Doesn't need gears. Okay, this guy doesn't need gears. We're going to put a power pole over there as well, and this guy just needs iron and transport belts. So that's that. And that is absolutely beautiful. Then we put that, that, and that. And you've noticed we've constrained this to just one slot. We don't want a ton of iron belts here, but we do want a ton of them up here, and up here. So this, we're going to just let it fill up. This guy, we're going to let him do this much. And this guy, we're going to let him do this much. Because we need undergrounds a lot more than we need splitters. And the last thing we need to do is get some circuit boards over here up into this area. You know what? I don't want to spread this out too much if I don't have to. So what we're actually going to do is since we gave ourselves a little bit of space on the inside, we're just going to feed them up inside here. That seems like a smart idea. Of course, there's a pole in my way. There's always a pole in my way. Alright. Now, of course, nothing's over this far, so let me see. Gotta skip copper. And we have to skip tin and lead. And we have to skip miscellaneous. And then we've got circuit boards. And when we start building red, which we might actually start building red now because it's not that bad of an idea. But when we start building red, we will need the bigger ones because the red splitters actually require the basic electronic boards, not the basic circuit boards. So we will need that stuff as well. So and then we can just do with there, and we just push it up. If you just click and drag it like this, it'll just automatically go out to the maximum length. And since we've built our bus around having a length of 4, it's going to work out beautifully. Technically, we could be merging these two at the moment if we wanted to, but I'm not too worried. So let's see. Move that out there. That goes out there. This guy goes in there, and then we'll move that out there. And let's go ahead and do the red belts anyway, and the red things and all that sort of stuff, because we got so much going on here. Now, the red underground needs yellow underground and gears, so we got all of that stuff. We're going to have 2 fast inserters here actually, because we just need so much of it. The red belt needs gears and transport belts. That's easy. And the red splitters need iron gears, basic electronic circuits, and these guys. So once again, power poles, power poles, power poles. And then we need some more chests for whatever we need here. Now, we're not going to use a lot of reds because, as I've said once or twice, I usually like to skip reds and get straight to blues, but when we research blues, we are going to discover, where are blues anyway? We are going to discover that everything that's blue needs the red ones anyway. So each successive tier requires some of the other tiers. So we're going to make those 1,000, going to make these 500, we're going to make these 500. So we might use them, we might need them at some point. Why aren't you running? You need iron. Why don't you have iron? Because all the iron's gone to crap. I told you we were going to run out of iron when we started doing this, and by God, that happened quickly. So there we go. Look at all this iron just it should be evenly balanced coming out, but obviously, yeah, look at this over on the left-hand side of the screen. That is just a absolutely pitiful amount of iron coming up. And it's really, really not that good. We're also starting to chug down on copper a little bit as well. It's all going to these guys. We're actually out of copper for making electronic circuits here. Or the basic circuits even. They're running out of copper. We're still okay on power. We're 11 out of 18, but yeah, the copper is going down the tube. These guys are going down the tube. We're not quite at steel yet, but I think we need to fix this. So next episode, we're going to be expanding the smelting areas because we need to fix this. Anyway, that has been this for today, and yeah, I will catch you guys later. Have a good one.